Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Thank you so much for warm welcome and hello everybody. Thank you so much for taking your valuable time in joining the session on why spirituality quest towards fulfillment. So, firstly, I will talk about why did I choose this topic of why spirituality. There are multiple reasons, and I would like to quote few. First one is there is a curiosity among everyone. Like whenever we talk about spiritual path or someone who is spiritual, everyone will think like, why is it? What is the benefit that he gets? And the major reason being, why is the fundamental question for every single thing that we do. Even if you ask a child to not go outside at night, the child will ask, why shouldn't I? So why is always the fundamental or foundation for giving the answers or reasoning. And only when our reasoning is good, we'll get convinced towards something. And once we are convinced, we actually thrive towards it or put efforts to achieve. So that's why I thought first, let me take up why spirituality. Because if I have to endorse spirituality or if I have to recommend spirituality to someone, then I have to give a proper reasoning to them that this is the reason you have to take up this path. So, with that, we shall begin the session on why spirituality. Firstly, before getting into the topic of why spirituality, I just want to clarify one small doubt that many people have today: religion versus spirituality. This is not exactly relevant to the topic we are taking today. However, this is a common doubt, so I thought clarifying it in just a couple of minutes is useful. So, what is this religion and spirituality? How it is related to each other? Firstly, religion is a ritualistic practices, values, ethics system, and moral, which actually define the overall community, which sustains the society. So, religion is more of action oriented. That if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. And these are the good things you have to do. These are the things which you should not do. So, it is about a value system of a community to lead a life. Vedas, which are the primary scriptures for Vedanta or spiritual texts, this prescribes two methods. One karma kanda, another one jnana kanda. Karma kanda is about mostly religious practices. What should be in the value system, how you should lead a life, what are do's, don'ts, etc. And jnana kanda is the spiritual path that we are going to study in next few minutes. So basically, are we saying that okay, both are totally unrelated and we don't require karma kanda or religion? No, we are not saying that. Karma kanda or religion or ethic practices or values are extremely important in getting into a spiritual journey because the purification that good life leads is mandatory for spiritual practices. Otherwise, whatever we study will be in our head, but it will not become our own. It won't be our own experience of spiritual practices. It is just that someone is saying something. It will become a belief system. If it should not be belief, our mind should be so pure that it understands whatever is taught. And for that, religious practices, values, and ethics is extremely important. But there are certain ways how you can do it, etc. And that will require a separate session on dharma or ethics. That we will not focus on today. But for now, you can just understand that there is a difference between spirituality and religion. Both are not same. However, religious practices lead to spiritual journey. Next, we will get into the core topic of why spirituality. Before getting into that, every human being is striving towards something or the other. Like some person wants a good home, some person wants to buy a car, phone, whatever it may be. But everything they are doing is for three major things apart from survival instincts. One is happiness, another one is peace, another one is security. If you introspect, apart from these three, 99% of the things that you're doing is not for anything else. So, when we are seeking for happiness, peace, security, are we actually getting it from things that we are seeking? For example, I will take an example of phone. If I purchase a phone, am I getting that happiness what I was seeking for? Generally, whenever we are going towards any object, that object has certain limitations which cannot give fulfillment. The major limitations are these objects come with a mixture of sorrow. I will tell you how. Then, this object is generally binds us to that particular thing. Another one, it cannot give eternal fulfillment. What is this mixture of sorrow? Whenever you take an object, whatever you want, you have to put a lot of effort in achieving it. If you want to purchase a phone, you have to put a lot of effort in earning that money to purchase that phone. And okay, I purchased it. What next? You have to put a lot more effort in maintaining it. Generally, people actually struggle with maintaining anything that they have obtained because if someone has purchased a new car or something, even a small scratch hurts them more than a scratch on their body because they have attached themselves to that car so much. So maintaining it is even more difficult, and maintaining it not just from that point of view, but also from maintaining the same thing by putting the money. It may be for repairs, maintenance, or anything of that sort. And okay, I maintain it. Then definitely any object that you get will go. It may become salvage, obsolete, or anything it may be. Here we are not just talking about the objects. We are talking about every single thing that we are seeking for. It may be even relationship. No relationship is permanent. So every single thing will some or the other day will go. Okay, there are a lot of limitations. Then also the major thing is it binds us, which means it will make us ask for something more of the same kind of things. So it always attracts us to its own sphere that you want to take me, you want to take me. It is like if I take one phone, I will see the better feature tomorrow and I will take that phone. It is just that my seeking will keep on continuing. And then it doesn't fulfill us completely. Because if it does fulfill, I will not look for anything else. But it doesn't fulfill. So these are the major limitations that every single object that we are seeking have. So am I saying that it does not provide happiness or security or peace? No, it does. But those are temporary. When I take any object, I will get happy, but for a temporary moment. After that moment, I forget about it. I am seeking something new that will give me happiness. So, what is the solution for all these things? Okay, I am getting only temporary happiness because of these limitations. And do we have any solution to get the permanent happiness? That is why today we are here, and the spiritual path will ensure that fulfillment is eternal. So, how? What is this spirituality? Gen- Generally, people have a misconception of spiritual journey or something that after death, you go here, you will have this kind of enjoyment, that, this, and all. Are we talking about that? No. When we talk about spirituality, it means fulfillment right here, right now in this life. We are not talking about something after death. How? So, we are not talking about spiritual fulfillment in the sense of we getting every single thing. That if you ask me that after the spiritual journey, do I get every kind of happiness that I get from purchasing a phone, purchasing a home, everything. I'll say, no, you don't get that kind of a happiness. Then what do you get? You just transcend over happiness. It is about understanding that these does not means this is not required for me to become happy, or this is not at all a means of happiness. It is about transcending it. It is not achieving it, it is transcending. Okay, this looks so fascinating. What is this about? And what if I take on this journey and I am unable to complete it? Like, today I start this journey, I put a lot of efforts. What if I cannot achieve the end result? Is there any sense? Definitely yes. The same question is asked by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6. The verse says like this: Ayati Shraddha Yopito Yogacharita Manasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kamgatim Krishna Gachati. What does this mean? Someone who is actually have Shraddha, which means faith, in the yoga that you're talking about. Yoga means path you're talking about. And due to some or the other distractions, he could not achieve it in this life. What will happen to him? This is the same question that Arjuna asks. And Krishna gives the answer basis the karma theory. We are actually having multiple births. We are born, live, death. Born, live, death. So every time we are born with a lot of purva samskaras, which means previous births inclinations. And that we are actually seeing it in our daily life also, but we are not just observing it. If you see, there are many people who are at very engaged have inclination towards programming. At very engaged, they have inclination towards some other texts or some other history or something. How they don't even have any kind of exposure to it, but still they have inclination or interest. Some are too intelligent, some are not at all intelligent. How? Or for all these things, we give the reason of karma. Because of previous birth inclination, and the lifestyle that you had in your previous birth, this birth is determined. Is it 100% deterministic? No. There are a lot of choices that you have, but there are some things that you cannot control. Okay, but let's take a step back. What if someone says that I don't even believe in rebirth? Why should I get into spiritual journey? I have an answer for that as well. The major reason you came to spiritual journey or in this session is because you wanted happiness, peace, and security or fulfillment. Whether there is next birth or no, let's forget that. We forget why spirituality, which is the major reason for liberation or transcending from this birth and death. You came for happiness, security, and peace that you get. We have seen this with many sages, saints. Those are not 100% valid means of knowledge. However, those can be a inference. There are many sages, saints who were in the spiritual path who says that I don't need anything to be happy. They are contented with themselves. So that contentment which you came for, you get in the spiritual journey. Why do you need more things? Because you are getting what you were seeking for. Okay, this sounds very good. And what is spirituality actually? We are actually having a lot of misconceptions towards spirituality. There are so many different theories, schools of thought that teach about spirituality being different. Let's talk few things about what spirituality means in modern culture, then we talk actually what is spirituality. So in modern culture, people use spirituality in a very kind of open-ended manner. Like even for yoga, they call spirituality. Even for bhakti, they call spirituality. Even for mindfulness, meditation, they call spirituality. There are or even for religious practices, they call spirituality. So there are so many things which are piled up into this one word called spirituality. Then what is spirituality actually, or what is this yoga, meditation, all these kind of things? Are they useless or are they not spiritual practices? Those are supporting to spiritual practices, but those are not spiritual practices. Because whatever you are doing as an action, that cannot give you 100% fulfillment. Even the people who are doing mindfulness or meditation or anything, they are doing it because they can stay active, or they will have peace of mind for next 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, or whole day. That's why they do it every single day in the morning. That means they know that it just gives the temporary benefit of peace of mind. Even with that temporary benefit, everyone knows if life kicks us, or if our situations turn upside down, we will not have that peace of mind. Our mind starts to wander again, get distracted, will get agitated, everything. So, okay, these are just temporary practices. Then why do people do this? Because they don't know the permanent solution. Any action, if it is finite, it can give only finite results. No finite action can give infinite results. That is the major limitation of this meditation or yoga or anything. So we have to keep ourselves charged every time by doing this meditation. It is like a mobile battery. Every single day you have to keep it charged so that you are staying active. Okay, so are we not doing this, or are we rejecting this completely? No, we are not rejecting this, because these are extremely important to understand the core spirituality. If your mind is peace, or if your mind is not agitated or distracted, only then you can focus on actual spiritual path. So these are extremely important. So what are we doing exactly with these kind of practices, whether it's meditation, bhakti, or yoga, or anything of this sort? We are not rejecting these things, but we are just repositioning from actual end result to supportive actions. So, okay, these are supportive actions. What is the ultimate action? Means, what is the spirituality about? Well, first understand what does the spirituality word mean. In Sanskrita, spirituality is defined as adhyatma. That exactly refers to that which pertains to the self. So we are talking something about self. We are not talking, when a spirituality word comes, some people think that, okay, it is talking about some spirit which is outside, or there is some spirit inside me. There is light shining in me. Are we talking about that? No, we are not talking about any kind of spirit here. It is just self, that which pertains to the self. So study of spirituality means we are studying the self. That's all. This is the basic definition of spiritual path or spiritual journey. What is this? We are saying that it will give fulfillment, and you are just saying that we are just studying about self. How is it relevant? Knowledge can give fulfillment. How? We will see in some time. Uh, we will take some examples as well for that. Before going into that, what is okay? We are talking about self. What is this self? I already know about myself. I am this body and mind. But you are superimposing yourself to be body and mind. Why am I saying that? Because you're experiencing your body and you're experiencing your mind. Something that can be experienced is an object, and experiencer is a subject. Who is that experiencer? According to logic, it cannot happen that subject and object are same at the same point of time, means simultaneously. So, who is this subject? That is what we are going to study in spirituality. It is easily understandable through logic that whatever you think you are, whether it may be mind, whether it's life force, whether it is body, whether it's senses, or anything it is easily understandable that those are objects to your perception. Once it becomes an object, It cannot be the subject you. So whatever these problems you are suffering, or whatever the enjoyment, sorrows, everything is getting experienced to this body, and you are just the witness of it. Being a witness, you are just superimposing yourself to this body and identifying yourself to be in the problem. And that is the major cause for all this suffering. Okay, this is like a very big bombshell. How can I digest this? Means, how can you just say that I am not this body, or who am I then? Basically, if I am not this body, mind, and all, if I remove all these things, am I kind of a emptiness, shunya? This is what some of the Buddhistic theories say, that after you negate everything, you are emptiness. But we are not talking about emptiness here. You're the basis of all this creation, because all this creation have happened due to ignorance of reality. You just know what reality is. So let me take an example of gold and ornaments. Say there is a one large necklace of gold, then there is one medium sized bangle, then there is very small earring. All of them are made of gold. When I ask what is this, you say necklace. I will counter question saying that it is just a name and form. You are just calling it necklace because of this form of it. So it is just a name and form. Then what it is? It is actually gold. Even the bangle is gold, even though it is little smaller. Even the smallest earring is a gold. So everything you are giving a different name and form, it is actually a gold. That's how everything that you're perceiving in this creation, or whatever you're perceiving, is due to the ignorance of the fact that you don't know the reality of it. Basically, there is only one limitlessness, that is existence itself. And that existence is you. It is because of the ignorance you are superimposing this body and mind to be you, and you are just ignoring the fact that everything is one and the same. How can I understand this? I mean, just by understanding that there is one thing, how is this possible that it solves my problem, or I will be transcending it? So it is about, I know that there is no requirement of happiness, because currently this body requires a lot of things to be satisfied. And once I understand the fact that I am not this body mind, and the satisfaction of this body and mind is no more relevant to me, why do I need that happiness? So, when I talk about fulfillment through spiritual practices or spiritual journey, I am not talking something material, which means that if you ask me that after spiritual journey, will I get everything that I want, that I have phone, mobile, car, home, everything, or will I get the happiness of all those things? I'll say definitely no, because we are not talking about the objective happiness. We are talking about the subjective happiness, which means you transcend the happiness requirement. You don't require this happiness because you're not in the perimeter of this world. You're just transcending it. So that is how spiritual journey will take you upward. And okay, what is this whole thing about? Means basically, how is this creation happened? You're just saying that all these are false, or you have to understand the reality, everything. What is the basis of all these things? We are experiencing this kind of a same similar thing in our daily life. Let's take an example of dream. Everyone has dream in our sleep every single day. And when you are in dream, you actually superimpose yourself to be a person in the dream. But what actually it is just a projection of your mind. But your ignorance of that fact. You will suffer inside the dream. You will find happiness inside the dream. You will thrive for something inside the dream. You will do every single thing to make you happy, even inside the dream. But once you understand that this is a dream by waking up, what will happen? You understand that there was no dream. It is just that it is a mind projection. So the reality of dream is gone. There is nothing. So it is just that you understand that whatever the happiness or sorrow in the dream does not affect me because that is not even me. In the same way, whenever I give example, I just want to give one note that whenever we are talking about an example, we should not equate the example. Example is just to understand one specific topic. So when we should not equate that dream to this also. Okay, there is one thing where all these things are getting projected. It is similar to a dream. Once you understand the fact or reality, this becomes completely false. Whatever happens in this creation or world does not affect me because I am more than this. There is one higher level of reality than this. If we call dream as a lower level reality and this mind being higher level reality, there is one more higher level reality we have to understand. And that is the major objective of spiritual journey. We understanding that we are not this body and mind, but we are this higher level of reality. Okay, whatever you're saying seems something logical, but why can't I achieve all these things through meditation? Because of the limitations of action. Action is always limited and it cannot provide infinite results. If, say, for example, you are a limited human being and by meditation you become infinite or limitless human being or you transcend, which means finite action is leading you to something infinite. That is not possible because there is one infinite, there is one finite. It's logically flawed because infinite itself means it covers everything. How can there be one infinite, one finite? So it is we are not talking about something becoming here. If we say becoming, then it cannot be infinite or limitless. We have to talk something which is already there. That's why the Jnana Kanda or path of knowledge is the only solution for this logical problem. Then are we saying that this meditation and all I should not do because it does not give me anything? It is just temporary happiness. Logically, yes, but practically, it does provide peace of mind. Even though we are into the spiritual journey, we have not yet achieved it 100%. We have not yet obtained the fulfillment. In order to obtain it, we should have peace of mind until then. So, for that, we have to practice meditation. So, meditation or yoga, all these things are useful, but those cannot be end in itself, which we already talked about. Now, how knowledge can be solution? Before getting into this, first we will understand whatever we just studied until here. Because if we understand the major problem, then we can understand how knowledge can be the solution to all these things. Firstly, we understood that religion and spirituality are not exactly same. Religion is just complementing to spirituality. And then we understood what are these human beings are driving towards and what is that they are seeking for security, peace, and happiness. Then we understood the limitations of those objects that we are seeking. It does provide security, peace, and happiness, but it's momentary and it binds us. Then there is a lot of effort that we put into it. Even after that much effort, it will not stay with us forever. Then we understood that okay, there is some other solution which is spiritual journey, and under spiritual journey we understood what is this modern spirituality culture is, and then we understood how this modern spiritual culture is different from actual spiritual journey. Actions cannot give infinite results. That is the major reason that we checked on. And Then we understood what we truly are. We cannot be this body and mind because of subject object distinction. And because of the subject object distinction, we have to be something else, which is limitless. And due to the fact of ignorance, we are just superimposing ourselves into this particular thing. We also saw the gold example. Every single name and form will look different, perceived differently, but in reality, those are gold itself. We saw one major example of dream where we are experiencing how projection can happen without we knowing the reality. And based on all these things, we come to a conclusion that knowledge can only be the solution. That means we truly are limitless, but we just don't know it. This is the logical solution that we have to get into. What is this knowledge path? And how can knowledge give limitlessness? Is there any basis for this? The major reason or basis for this can only be pramana, which means of knowledge. Like eyes is the means of knowledge to see something, which is in a form. Ears is a means of knowledge to hear something. In the same way, to understand ourselves, which are not perceivable, because if you perceive it is not you, which is not perceivable, only Vedas are means of knowledge. Apart from this, nothing else can give you because everything that you see is talking about some object. If it is an object, it is not you. Only thing that will talk on subject is Vedas. So in Vedas, especially the second portion, which is Jnana Kanda, which is called Upanishads. So this is the only means of knowledge that we have to take. Okay, then what does this means? Who am I actually? How does it prove that I am limitless and all? That's a detailed thing which we have to take one separate session on what spirituality or what is the true nature of ourselves. But for now, I'll just give a brief idea on it. There is like one whole sky, which is the basis of existence, or we can take space as basis for existence of every single thing. So if we start negating everything, like I start negating house, I start negating roads, everything if you negate, do you get into emptiness? No, sky is still there. So that is the basis of existence. When you say ease, house ease, or anything, there is easiness about it, which is giving the existence to that particular object. In the same way, we are giving the existence to all these creation. We are the basis of this. We are just projecting it and we are superimposing ourselves to this. That is the major problem. It is just journey from ignorance to knowledge. We are just knowing that all this is happening fine, but this is not me. This is just a projection. That's the major objective here. So how can finite human being can know that he is infinite? We are not talking about this finite human being infinite. We are talking about you being infinite. How? We will conclude this with one beautiful story. This story most people would know, but we just have to observe the fact. In Mahabharata epic, there is a life of Karna, who is the son of Kunti, a Pandava, but due to some reasons, he is brought up by some Shudra. By birth, he is a Kshatriya. During those times, there were some Varnashrama dharmas and all. We will not get into that, but he was not able to get the teaching regarding his valorism or any kind of war arts. So he had to learn it through some unethical means. Then he was dispelled by a lot of people because he is not a Kshatriya. So he took the place where there are adharma, which means he took the side of Duryodhana. So all this time, even after he became king from Duryodhana's dynasty, he always had this inferiority complex. I am not a Kshatriya, I am a Shudra. So this inferiority complex cannot go by meditation. If he does meditation for 10 years, he will not lose the inferiority complex. If he does bhakti, he will not lose the inferiority complex. But what happened? Then Krishna or Kunti, both actually, came and told him that you are not a Shudra, you are a Kshatriya. So this is the bombshell I am just putting you on, that you are not this body mind, you are limitless. How you are reacting in the same way Karna reacted. That I can't be. How can you simply come and say this? I am the son of Radhe, who is a Shudra. Then they told the whole story, how he is born. He got a doubt. This is a working faith, which means he's not agreeing to what Krishna or Kunti is saying immediately. He's just doubting it. It may be true. I don't know whether it is true, but it may be true. Then he started questioning his brought up mother, means stepmother, who is Radhe. So Radhe said, yes, I got you in a river and I just took care of you. Then his conviction becomes little more stronger that yes, whatever they were saying is true. That's when his knowledge happened and he lost the inferiority complex of he being a Shudra. So, did he do anything, any action to lose this inferiority complex which he had problem on? No, he just knew the fact. So, knowing the fact can give you the infinite results or results for the problems that you're facing for. It is not impossible. There are many examples or there are many situations where only knowledge can give you the solution. In the same way, here we are talking about a knowledge where just by knowing it, you will have a solution for all your problems. We will get into the details of it, what spirituality is, how it can give solution, and what is the subject object distinction in detail, what are the other methods to achieve it, etc. There are so many topics in this, and we will definitely discuss this in future sessions regarding what is spirituality, how to attain it, what are the methods to achieve it, what does this knowing mean, it's everything. For this session, thank you so much for joining here, and we will conclude for this moment. We will have the question answer session. If anyone have any questions, you can put in YouTube chat or even Zoom chat, or if you want, you can raise your hand, and our volunteers can just unmute you, and you can ask your question. So over to Snehaji. Hello, Snehaji.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Pavan sir. Now the chat box will be open for people who want to ask questions. We have a few minutes. We have around 10-15 minutes for the questions. So I request the participants to please ask your questions in the chat box. The chat box will be open in a minute. In the meanwhile, you can also raise your hand. You would be unmuted to ask your question directly to Pavan sir. Yeah. The chat box is open for your convenience. You can put your questions there. And also, people who are there who have joined us on the YouTube channel, even you can surely ask your question by typing your questions on the chat box. I shall unmute Vani ji right now. She has risen the hand up. Vani ji, you can ask your question.
Hello? Hello? Namaste. Can you
Namaste.
hear me? Namaste. Yeah. Just I wanted to know because as you said, karma kanda, it's a part for the spirituality. Fine. But I would like to know because all the people who I mean whom we have heard of, especially like many people, like how much of the karma kanda was related, we don't know exactly. But they have achieved spirituality because they have set an example so that we think Sridhar Swamiji. Because we don't think that how much of karma kanda explanation, how does this go? But do you mean to say all the people, when they are entering to the spirituality, karma kanda means just if you can give a little bit better explanation, that sounds better. Because those who are not in a family, but those who wanted to go for the spiritual path, as you said, with some materialistic concepts, how exactly we can reach the spiritual path? Just I would like to know. I think my question is clear, I feel.
Sure. Basically, what we are trying to say here, we are not saying that you should not take up to karmakanda. Or when I talk about spiritual journey or spiritual path, I am not asking anyone to leave your household and just go on some random monk journey. That is not spiritual path we are talking about. This karma kanda is absolutely required to purify your mind. But why to purify your mind? That is the reason for spirituality. So when I talk that you are not this body mind, it is difficult for you to accept the things. It is like, say, I will take one example. If some children are adopted and they don't know it, after 25, 30 years, you tell them that uh, this is your real parents and you are adopted. That son cannot accept. Just for that 30 years of bonding with you, he cannot accept someone else as parent. And we are saying that you are getting attached to this body and mind for life after life. And I'm saying you're not this body and mind. In order for you to accept this fact, your mind has to be pure. And that is the reason why Karma Kanda is extremely important. That ethics, values, and actions, the good actions and good deeds, make you kind of eligible for spiritual journey. And when we talk about spiritual path, it is not monk-like journey where you leave everything and just go. It is about understanding the reality, which means whenever we talk about desires or any security, there are binding, non-binding. Binding desires means where I say that without this, I can't live. That is a binding desire. Non binding means if I have this, fine. If I don't have this, it's okay. I can manage myself. That is non binding desire. So here we are talking about living with objectivity, which means whether something is there or not, it doesn't matter to you. If it is there, good. If it is not there, still good. So that is the life that we are talking about here. And this is not a practice that, okay, this is not there, I am fine. This is not a practice or imposition that you have to do. This is about knowing it, that whether it's there or not, it doesn't affect me. So, by knowing the real nature of ourselves, we understand that these things will not affect my nature. The happiness and sorrow is for this body and mind, and my nature is about this. When you talk about Sridhar Swamiji and all, who did a lot of practices and all, he might have also learned all these things. Obviously, he has studied a lot of spirituality. So, we are not denying those practices. And after understanding, also, you can continue doing those practices. But you know the reality of what those practices are for. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pavan sir. There's one question from Nagratna Rao, a seeker from YouTube. She asks, please advise the meditation method because when I sit for meditation, my mind goes somewhere because as this is the first step for spiritual path, I want to know it deeper.
Sure. Meditation, when we talk, it has to be supplemented by knowledge. Without knowledge, meditation can never be steady because you don't know why you are sitting or you don't know what you are meditating on. So, for example, if I say meditate on God, first you have to know what is this God. Only then you can meditate on God. So, whenever you ask about meditation, how to meditate, or if you can't meditate and all, first you have to know the object of meditation. If you want to meditate on Ishta Devata, you have to know Ishta Devata. If you want to know about non-dual meditation, which is the path of knowledge, meditation from the path of knowledge, you have to understand the reality. What is this Ishvara or Brahma we are talking about? So all these things, first you have to have a knowledge of something. Then you have to sit on meditation. Then meditation is not one time thing that I sit today, I do meditation for 5 hours, 6 hours, then done. It is a continuous practice. Whatever meditation you are doing, it has to be a long term, and consistency is more important than duration in a single day. Which means if you cannot sit for 1 hour, try to sit for half an hour. If you cannot sit for half an hour, try to sit for 15 minutes initially. So slowly you can increase it, but consistency is more important than one time you doing it for 5 hours, 6 hours, and then completely stopping it.
Uh, Thank you, Pavan. So there's one more question from Lakshman Dikshit on YouTube. He asks, how do we practice spirituality in daily life? How do I know who I am?
Great question, and this was major topic for us in my further session where I want to talk about how to achieve the spirituality or fulfillment. I'll just give a glimpse here, and then we can take it up in detail in further sessions. Basically, how in daily life and what is the method of knowing this? And there is a statement in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is part of Jnana Kanda, that Atma va are drashtavyah, shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah, which means you can know Atma, which means yourself, by three things: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. What is this Shravana? Shravana means hearing to the teaching. You have to hear the teaching of who you are, how are you this, everything from a competent guru. So it has to be in a systematic way, not just that I listen to 1 hour lecture, I know who I am. No, there are so much depth involved in the spiritual journey, and there are so many things involved in this topic. There are so many contradictions that you come across. So you have to have a systematic, consistent study of spiritual scriptures for a length of time from a competent guru. This is first step. Okay, I start learning, then you have to first question, like whatever you're learning is becoming a belief. Okay, guru is saying this, but is it true? You have to start question it. Only when we question some things, that's when we understand it better. We should have this inquisitive nature in spiritual path. This is not some kind of a belief system where I say this, you have to believe and you have to follow it. No, you have to question every single thing, that how has this happened? How can this happen? Is there a contradiction here? Once you start questioning, the guru starts to answer your questions. Slowly, slowly, your doubtful nature will start to become convinced. Once it starts to become convinced, that's when this nididhyasana comes in, which I just spoke in the previous question, that you have to sit and meditate on that particular thing that you already know and have conviction about. And this meditation is not for achieving peace of mind. This is just to understand and just to have the feeling that, okay, I know that this is what I am, but I just want to have this flow in my body and mind also. Because I want to live a happy life also. Just because I know that I am not this body mind, why to make this body suffer? So To have a good body and mind, and for the sustenance of society, I want to do meditation. That is the third path. So this is how you know who you are, and what to how to practice this in your daily life as you're doing it today. Like, for knowing spiritual things, you don't have to leave out any of the tasks that you have or responsibilities you have in your household. You keep on doing it, but you have to give some time towards spiritual things. It is just that having consistent approach towards spiritual study for length of time, even if it is 1 hour a day, half an hour a day, or 1.5 hours a day, you just keep on increasing it. So at one point of time, you yourself feel that what is important for you and what is the benefit that I'm getting out of this spiritual journey. That's when you start giving it more time than your worldly life. So, okay, so should I leave out all the responsibilities? Definitely no. Scriptures totally go against the thing that you leave out on responsibilities that you have towards your household. You have to keep on doing your responsibilities, but that responsibilities should not bind you in a way that without that I can't live. That's the major objectivity that you should have in spiritual journey. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Pavan sir. There is a huge flow of questions on both Zoom and YouTube platform. Uh, can we seek extra time from you for taking these questions?
Sure, I can stay for some more time.
All right. Thank you so much. There's a question from Rekha on Zoom platform itself. She says, when I'm experiencing this body and mind, how is it possible to think it's not me? Please guide.
So you yourself has an answer in the question. You're saying you're experiencing this body and mind. Experiencing itself means that you are different from body and mind. If I say I am tasting this object, apple, or I am biting this apple, apple is an object, and my teeth or tooth is a subject. So when something is being experienced, that becomes object to you. You're not that, it is clear. So why is that whatever happens to this body is affecting you? That is what we were talking about due to ignorance. It is that when you are in dream, even though that dream is just false projection of your mind, you are having suffering because of lot of worldly activities. Once you know that you are not the real person in the dream, but it is just a projection, every problem gets vanished. So in the same way, when you're experiencing this body and mind, it is not about suppressing the pain. That, okay, I am not having this pain. I am not having this pain. This is suppression. You're just pushing the pain. That is not about it. It is about understanding that this pain is not for me. And this understanding should not just be from intellectual point of view that, okay, I know it by hearing from me in this 1 hour session, but it is about understanding with conviction. How much are you convinced you are this and this person? In the same way, you have to have a conviction that you are not this and this person. Only then you will transcend this sorrow of body and mind. So, for that, I was saying you need to have a systematic, consistent study with the help of meditation at the end by knowing what you are meditating on.
Thank you, Pavan sir. There is an interesting question on YouTube. Uh, a seeker asks, being spiritual and having understood it, is it wrong to enjoy the material benefits of human life? Or will it mean that the person who enjoys it, he is not really spiritually aware?
Very good question. And many people have this question, especially in today's world where we are studying spirituality at one point of time and we are also doing a lot of other things in our daily life. So, firstly, when we are enjoying something while being spiritual, we have to understand how much are we attached to that enjoyment. That determines, are we into spiritual journey or are we into materialistic journey? If we say that without that enjoyment, I cannot lead a life, I will need it, whatever the cost may be, then that is not a spiritual transcended state. But someone who is transcended in spirituality, can't he not enjoy anything? He may, but he will not get attached to it. If that is there, he is fine. If that is not there, he's still fine. It is just that how much you are attached to that particular object determines whether you have been transcended out of that object of desire or no. So, being in spiritual journey, you can definitely enjoy anything, but it has to be dharmic and ethical way. It cannot be unethical. While enjoying, you have to first question yourself, is that something which binds me? Which means, can I stay without it? If I cannot, then I am attached to it. We have to get rid of that attachment by knowledge, not suppression. And if we say that I can stay without it, and it is just that I have today, I will use it, and it is from the ethical means, then you can definitely enjoy it.
Thank you, Pavan sir. There's one more question on Zoom platform. Nagendra Kumarji asks, how do I know that I'm understanding myself? Or how to do,
How do I know?
yeah, how to do I know that I got reality? Sorry, how do I know that I got reality?
Great question regarding the end result. How do I know that I have achieved this? For this, it is about aparoksha anubhava, we call, which means we knowing about ourselves from our own experience. Experience does not mean that we experience something outside. It is about this knowing can happen only through this mind, because this mind is having a problem currently. So mind has to know that this is a false projection and I have to know the real nature. Once this mind knows, it becomes convinced, and this conviction itself becomes your experience. It is like, say for example, a first year old, first standard, first grade. If a kid goes to school, the teacher says sun rises from east and sets in west. That's a false knowledge actually, but they are just teaching it so that child understands it better. Then at fifth grade, the same child gets to know that sun never rises, never sets, but earth is revolving around the sun. At that point of time, whatever this kid is knowing from the teaching of physics teacher is not conviction. But once you start learning more and more about physics, you get to have the conviction that whoever asks you about this question, you are totally convinced that this is the answer. Sun never rises or sets. It is you yourself have completely understood that this is the basis of physics. In the same way, after you study for length of time, you yourself understand that in whatever situation, whoever asks you, you know that I am not this body and mind. So it is about you yourself knowing it by having studied for length of time and understood and convincing intellectually that this is proper reasoning based understanding, not just some faith based. Until and unless it becomes reasoned understanding, it will always have some shaking towards it, which means today you are believing whatever I am saying. Tomorrow, if someone comes and puts you some counter arguments, you'll start to think, oh, okay. You start to think towards like it may be true. That confusion should never arise. That will happen only when you have length of understanding and you have understood it reasonably, not just out of belief.
Pavanji, there is one more question. Uh, Medha Patwardhanji asks that under which category can we put bhakti into? Jnanakanda or Karmakanda?
Sure, bhakti being the major reason for spiritual path means it is not end in itself, but it is just a means for spiritual path. It has to be karma kanda because basically you can just simply categorize whatever you do by action is karma kanda. Whatever you do for knowing is jnana kanda. So bhakti, you're doing something. You are showering love towards God, and it is an action. Whether it is mentally you're doing or whether it is physically you're doing, that's a different thing. But you are showering love, which is an action which has to be in karma kanda. So bhakti is extremely important to have a good understanding of Ishvara, which ultimately leads to knowing self. But it cannot be end in itself. You have to start knowing towards yourself, which is a jnana kanda. So in the interest of time, can we stop, or is there are any more questions? We can take one.
Yeah, so though there are a lot of questions, can we take the last one before we end it?
Sure.
Yeah. The Yeah, there is one question on Zoom platform. Chandrika ji is asking that. Most of the youngsters in the present generation claim that they are spiritual and feel that they don't need to be religious or ritualistic practices or follow ritualistic practices. But I believe that ritualistic practices are most necessary initially to even one second, please. One second, let me read it. Yeah, initially to even understand the journey of spiritual path. What do you say about it?
Great question. And this is why I initially took the thing on religion versus spirituality. What you're saying is exactly true. Religion is too important to understand the spiritual journey. When few people say that I am not religious or someone need not be religious but can be spiritual, first we need to understand what do they mean by spirituality. If they think that only meditation is spirituality, then yes, religious practices are not enough. But today, what we are talking about spirituality being knowing oneself, for that, definitely there has to be some religious practices. Not because religious practices directly correlate to knowledge or jnana kanda, but it definitely prepares you to understand the knowledge. How does it prepare me? Because if someone, take an example of some businessman who is corrupt. If he is corrupt, even though he has a lot of money, always he will be thinking, okay, tomorrow does income tax department will raid me, or can I escape this? What lie should I tell to them? Or how can I escape from this situation? He will always be thinking about how to actually cover up his unethical practices. His mind is always agitated towards it. For that, if you lead an ethical religious life, you don't have any kind of these problems to think about. You are completely free of all these things, that you know that you are leading a good life. There is nothing that can shake you. That's when you can focus 100% on spiritual knowledge journey. Only when you can focus 100%, that's when you understand that you are not this body and mind. And that's why religious practices are extremely important. If we go pure logic standpoint, we can say that religion or religious practices are not mandatory for spiritual journey. But practically, without that, achieving spiritual growth is extremely difficult.
Thank you so much, Pavan sir, for answering a lot of questions with a lot of patience. Of course, I know that we are in a time crunch and we have many more questions, both in Zoom and YouTube platform. But because of lack of time, we shall end the session here. So once again, I thank you for your time that you came on the Zoom platform to help us understand why spirituality in a better way. We look forward to having many more such inquisitive sessions with you. I request you to please be there on the platform to guide us in this journey. My dear
Thank you so much.
friends, Thank you so much, sir. My dear friends, now with this, we shall end the session. But before that, there are a few instructions for all of us. First thing, the YouTube seekers, the YouTube listeners who are there, I request you to please put your questions on the chat box so that Pavan sir will surely answer all the questions. Apart from that, people who are there on the WhatsApp group, the group will be open from 8 to 10 p.m. today. You can share your feedback, you can share your questions on this. Pavan sir will surely answer all your questions on that as well. Yeah, such gems, many such gems are lined up under the banner of Learn Vedanta in upcoming days. I request you to please tune up to our YouTube channel, Learn Vedanta, and also tune up to our blogspot, Learn Vedanta Online, for many such written articles for our continuous spiritual journey. We shall end this session here. I take the privilege to thank Pavan sir. I also take the privilege of thanking Disha Bharat, an organization which provides us with the Zoom platform, and also all the technical and non-technical volunteers who have helped us in the smooth running of this wonderful program. Thank you once again. Let us meet in another special discourse and another series of programs. Till then, Dhanyavad. May this spiritual journey continue and we seek the highest truth in this life itself. Thank you so much. Dhanyavad. Vande Mataram.
Thank you.